There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't show up on your face. It lives somewhere behind your eyes, in the gap between how hard you know you work and how little the numbers seem to reflect it. You added the side hustle. You took the extra shift, you negotiated the raise, and every single time the financial pressure didn't drop, it relocated. That's not a discipline problem. Most people with this problem are some of the most disciplined people in the room. That's what makes it so brutal, because if it were laziness, you'd know how to fix it. What nobody tells you is that effort without a capture mechanism is the most efficient way to fund a lifestyle that resets itself every 30 days. And the harder you push inside that system, the faster the reset happens. Think about a bucket with a hole in the bottom. You can pour faster, you can pour more, you can wake up at 5 in the morning and pour with both hands, but the water level doesn't rise, it just drains at a higher rate. The effort isn't the problem. The bucket is the problem, and right now, most people trying to build wealth are pouring harder into a bucket they never fixed. This is what behavioral economists call the lifestyle absorption effect, and it's invisible because it disguises itself as success. When income goes up, spending calibrates to match. Not because you're careless, because your brain is wired to treat surplus as permission. It's not a character flaw, it's a feature of how human cognition handles available resources. Psychologists who study money habits call this hedonic adaptation, and it will silently consume every raise, every bonus, every side income stream you ever generate, unless something structurally interrupts it. That interruption is what wealth builders install before anything else. Not a budget, not willpower, a capture mechanism. Here's the difference that actually matters, and it's not what most personal finance advice will ever admit. The people who genuinely build wealth don't earn more, on average. Study after study on long-term wealth accumulation shows the same uncomfortable pattern. High earners without systems stay financially stagnant, while moderate earners with systems accumulate aggressively. The variable isn't income, it's sequencing. Wealth builders move money before their lifestyle has a chance to absorb it. Income earners spend first and save what survives. That difference sounds minor. It is not minor. The mathematical gap between those two behaviors, compounded over 10 years, is the difference between financial pressure and financial independence. And yet, here's the part that stings. Most people know this in principle. They've heard "pay yourself first" 100 times. They nod, they agree. And then they do nothing structurally about it, because knowing a principle and installing a system that operates independent of your willpower are completely different things. Willpower is a resource. It depletes. Every financial decision you make in a day that requires you to consciously choose discipline over impulse drains the same cognitive battery. By the time you've decided what to eat, handled the unexpected car expense, and fielded 3 texts that activated some kind of spending response, your capacity for disciplined financial behavior is already compromised. The system that relies on willpower will fail, not because you're weak, but because willpower was never designed to carry the entire load. The capture mechanism doesn't care what kind of day you had. So what is it exactly? It operates in 3 parts, and each one does a specific job that the others can't. The first is separation. Before any dollar touches your spending accounts, before lifestyle, before bills, before Amazon makes a suggestion, a fixed percentage moves somewhere that requires intentional effort to access. Not a separate savings account at the same bank, a structural gap, a friction point, something that transforms a passive decision into an active reversal. The psychological literature on this is unambiguous. The harder it is to access money you've set aside, the less frequently you access it. Separation isn't about distrust of yourself, it's about removing the decision entirely. The second part is automation. The moment you make the separation dependent on a monthly manual transfer, you've reintroduced willpower into the equation. Automation removes the human from the loop. It treats saving as a fixed operating cost, like rent, like a utility, not as something that happens with whatever's left. High performers in every field reduce the number of decisions they make in areas where discipline can fail. Your financial system should operate the same way. Set the rule once, let it run without you. The third is allocation with intention. This is where most pay yourself first advice stops short and where the real wealth-building architecture begins. Separation and automation without direction just accumulates idle capital. Allocation means every dollar that moves has a pre-assigned function: liquidity buffer, compound growth vehicle, or targeted debt elimination, not investment theory. Not passive income fantasy, just 3 accounts, 3 jobs, 1 rule: the money moves in sequence before you touch it. Now here's the part that quietly reorganizes everything. When this system runs, something counterintuitive happens. The pressure doesn't increase, it decreases, not because you have more money to spend in the first weeks you might feel tighter, but because you've eliminated the psychological weight of the end-of-month calculation. The moment you stop living in the uncertainty of will there be enough, your relationship with income fundamentally changes. It's the difference between running a sprint and running with a plan. Both feel like work, only one builds somewhere. The people who remain financially stuck aren't failing because they can't earn. They're failing because every dollar they earn enters a system that was never designed to hold it. And a system that doesn't hold money cannot build it, no matter how fast you pour. Here's what that looks like in numbers, not as motivation but as mechanics. Take someone earning $4,000 a month. Without a capture system after expenses, that person saves whatever survives the month, often zero, often negative. After 2 years, zero accumulated, stress consistent, income feels insufficient. Now install the system. 15% separates automatically on day 1. That's $600. It doesn't feel like $600 because the lifestyle never experienced it. After 2 years, $14,000 captured and compounding, plus the psychological stability that comes from having a financial buffer. Same income, entirely different financial position. And this is before the income growth kicks in. Because when you've built the system, every raise, every bonus, every side income doesn't get absorbed by lifestyle expansion, it flows directly into an already running capture mechanism. The rich don't get richer because they earn more. They get richer because their systems are already in place when the money arrives. Most people are waiting to earn enough to start saving. The system you're reading about is exactly backwards from that belief, and that reversal is the entire point. You don't save what's left, you capture first, then you live on what remains. The discipline doesn't come from gritting your teeth through the month, it comes from never seeing the money in the first place. That's not a mindset shift, that's architecture. And architecture runs when you're tired, when you're busy, when your willpower has already been spent on something else. It runs when a good week tricks you into feeling flush. It runs when a hard month tries to make you rational about just this once. The bucket doesn't drain because you poured faster. The bucket holds because you fixed the hole before you started pouring. So here's what this comes down to, and it's brutally simple. The system you currently have is perfectly designed to produce the results you're currently getting. If those results include end-of-month stress, income growth that never translates to financial progress, and the persistent feeling that you're working harder for the same pressure, that's not a motivation problem. That's a structural problem, and structural problems don't respond to effort, they respond to redesign. Set up the separation today, automate it this week. Allocate with intention before the next paycheck hits, not when you earn more, not when the timing is better. The timing will never be better because the system that's running right now is already at work, absorbing whatever you make. The bucket has a hole, you know it. The question is whether you're going to keep pouring or stop long enough to fix it. Stop, fix the bucket, then pour everything you have.